Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store for products like the 5500K ring light, perfect for making YouTube videos. Affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and yeah, I'm talking about Star Wars The Last Jedi and not on my movie channel, but this is the Rotten Tomatoes page for Star Wars. You can see here that right now it's sitting at a 93% certified fresh rating, with 289 fresh reviews and 21 rotten reviews. But the audience score is 56%, with a lot of people not really caring for it, or so you would think based upon this particular number. Now, listen, there are a lot of people out there that simply did not like the movie. My first time I saw it, I was angry at it, and I ranted about it in a video that's done very well on the movie channel. But I saw it again, and it wasn't as bad as the first time, now that I know what to expect. But this number came under fire quite a bit, and I'm very happy that it did. I'm not a fan of Rotten Tomatoes, how it gets treated as kind of like the be-all, end-all of movie critique and movie criticisms, especially when dealing with the rating of something. But that audience score is generally one that I've always felt could relatively be trusted. That is until this weekend, where we're seeing here that the exit polls, this kind of thing, is actually not the most accurate. So it says here that we've received a number of emails this week and comments in the box office section about the audience reaction to Disney Lucasfilm Star Wars The Last Jedi. The sequel earned its third straight A from CinemaScore after The Force Awakens and Rogue One. And on ComScore/Screen Engine, The Last Jedi earned an overall 89% positive score and a 5-star rating from moviegoers. That's in the wheelhouse of what The Force Awakens earned and Rogue One. These are scientific, statistically accumulated audience exit polls that studios can take to the bank, which they rely on to deconstruct various elements of a film's opening. And yeah, these are kind of like boots on the ground sort of thing. These are not like, like CinemaScore, or like the CinemaScore is in multiple cities and they go to multiple theaters and they ask people upon exiting how they feel about the film. So it gives you more of a what the average, what the people who've legitimately seen the movie are saying about it. Now, it says here, readers have asked, how can it be that The Last Jedi's audience results are this high? They point to the Metacritic score, user score of 5 for the film, IMDb 7.9 out of 10 rating, and the Rotten Tomatoes audience score of 56% from 96,000 reviews. On Rotten Tomatoes, The Last Jedi's user score is also an anomaly. Typically, user scores aren't that far from their critical ratings. I do have to stop it though. If you go and you look at, let's say, Ghostbusters 2016 and Star Trek Discovery and the Orville, they are very, very, very different. Star Trek Discovery has, a higher score audience or critic-wise than audience-wise, whereas the Orville has a low score critic-wise but a high score audience-wise. Ghostbusters, Iron Fist, same thing. So there's a disparity there quite frequently. So I do believe that this is misreporting that particular aspect of it. Simply put, these are unscientific means of measuring audience reactions. Anyone can log into these sites several times and weigh down the audience grades against a movie. The consensus from non-Disney sources this morning is that trolling occurred here in regards to the online reaction to The Last Jedi. In addition, there's no way to filter on these sites whether or not the users have actually seen The Last Jedi. CinemaScore and PostTrack literally pull moviegoers in real time as they're exiting the theater. In fact, one Facebook user with the page Down with Disney's Treatment of Franchises and Fanboys is laying claim to creating bot accounts that are hacking into Rotten Tomatoes user score for The Last Jedi. And that's something I find to be interesting. So it has here a little bit of the snippet, but if we take a look over at the actual page, you can see that this person, whoever they may be, says, guess who's back? And yes, it was me that caused this. While that vile troll page, No More Legends, had me banned, they set in motion my ultimate revenge plan against a person and a fan base that attacked me and my friends like Brendan, who had to leave this page, Alliance to defend the DCEU and Star Wars EU, out of intimidation, as well as the good people in the Alliance to preserve the Expanded Universe group and the new canon criticism page. What you have to understand about this, if you are unfamiliar with everything that's happened, when Lucasfilm was acquired by Disney in 2012 to the tune of about $4.08 billion, Disney decided that they wanted to scrap the entire expanded universe, which ultimately makes sense because they want to create their own canon. They own it now. They don't want to be bogged down with anything from the other works that may, have problems and whatnot. But many fans who have spent, 3 decades about reading the EU and loving the books, loving the new characters, loving the future stories of Han and Leia and Luke and Mara Jade and their children. They very much wanted to see this portrayed on the big screen, and many still do. And Disney, to an extent, has listened. The General Thrawn has made an appearance in season 3 of Star Wars Rebels. He's even got his own book indicating that they want to keep him around for a while because he is kind of like the big bad post the Emperor's death from Return of the Jedi and everything else. So they've done a lot with that in terms of very much trying to keep some things in line, but also to create a whole new world. And there are many fans with criticisms, as shown here by some of these pages. As you can tell, that's kind of the narrative they're going for. Now he goes on to say, thanks to friends of mine who taught me a thing or two about bot accounts. I use them to create this audience score through Facebook accounts created that subsequently logged into Rotten Tomatoes, who rigged the score, and it keeps dropping. It astounds me how successful bringing out the worst in all of you and turn you all against Disney. The anti-EU fans brought this on themselves, and I did what had to be done. Shall we create something similar to Avengers Infinity War? Sound off below. Now, that's the thing. I mean, bot accounts, we know that they do this on Twitter, and it's not hard to get bot accounts on Facebook, regardless of how many times they try to shut them down. More just pop up. People are always figuring out ways to jump in on this kind of stuff. But you look at something like this and it makes you really question whether or not this person is telling the truth, because I did a video where I was just completely ragging on The Last Jedi, and a lot of the comments there were very much agreeing with me. It's got over 4,000 likes, just to 1,000 dislikes. My complaints were story-wise and character usage and things like that, and it was coming from a fan's perspective. So that being said, it's like there are people out there who didn't like the movie. I went and saw it a second time, and it got to the Leia part, and you guys know who've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about, that part. And the two guys next to me started laughing hysterically, and a minute later they were like, man, F this. They got up and they walked out of the theater. And we were in like a packed house, and at the end of the movie, no one was clapping because they were just kind of dumbfounded by what they saw, which is natural reaction to Star Wars The Last Jedi the first time you might see it. So people out there aren't liking this movie. So I wonder if these kind of articles are also being used to kind of detract away from a large audience reaction to people who didn't care for it. Because the cinema score only goes to like a few cities inside the United States and only a few theaters inside those cities. It's not dealing with people outside of the United States that saw the movie and didn't like it. Keep in mind that the American market, while probably the most profitable market in terms of return for this film, is still the rest of the world to deal with. And there's been such a huge dismissal on this one. Like, believe it or not, the movie bloggers, these websites like Deadline and other places, have been very much trying to defend the movie. Not as bad as, let's say, Ghostbusters, but it's been interesting to watch play out. Now, it goes on to say that the biggest reality and telling truth of the film's popularity is that moviegoers vote with their wallets, and business was continually up day after day for The Last Jedi. Thursdays, $45 million previews, Fridays, $59.8 million, and Saturdays, $64 million. There was a huge want to see for this movie, and any kind of sour dialogue on IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, and Metacritic stems from cynics or ardent fans battling new fans. And look, there is a truth to that. The franchise, because of Disney's purchase and revival, is now more, profitable than ever. It's more popular than ever. I mean, I'm part of the problem. I will admit, over the course of the opening weekend of Star Wars The Last Jedi, I saw the movie twice. I paid for a grand total of 6 tickets between both screenings and people I took with me, and I spent over $100. I'm part of the problem. I get that. But at the same time, I understand there is a lot of people out there that don't like the movie, and they have good, valid reasons. And those valid reasons have been absolutely just crapped on by movie bloggers. Very similar, not to the same crazy extent that we saw with Ghostbusters. And it just goes on to talk about everything else here. Oh no, here's the thing at the bottom. Speaking about the online user review this morning, Disney president of theatrical distribution Dave Hollitz says, Rian Johnson, the cast, and Lucasfilm team have delivered an experience that is totally Star Wars, yet at the same time fresh, unexpected, and new. This makes a Star Wars film like audiences have never seen. It's got people talking, puzzling over its mysteries, and a lot to take in. And what we see that is all positive. That should help the film set up the film for great word of mouth and repeat viewing as we enter into the lucrative holiday period. So that kind of tells you right there what to expect, right? The lucrative holiday period. This is what they want. Disney wants money. $450 million worldwide opening for Star Wars. Now, whether or not it's going to maintain that trajectory, as it decreases over the course of the rest of the month and into the holiday season, where almost nothing is going to be able to compete with it due to the fact that it is going to suck out all of the air surrounding everything else. One has to look at it, though, from the perspective of if enough people are ragging about it, especially over here with this 56% score, is that going to impact people? Because we always hear, well, Rotten Tomato scores, they're a problem, and then you hear they're not a problem, and it always is this back and forth depending on which narrative you want to play at that time, which is very true. And so I look at this and I think to myself, you know what? I've seen the movie twice. I'll buy it when it comes out. Again, I'm part of the problem. I don't care at this point. I bought Battlefront 2 for Christ's sake. I still play it. So I'm a fan. I'm part of that problem. But I have criticisms about the film itself. And there are elements in the movie that I like. There are elements of the movie that I don't like. And I think that if enough people look at the elements that they don't like and they realize that, they're going to tell people about this because, and then I think people are going to go see it for themselves out of pure morbid curiosity to determine whether or not it's as bad as they're making it out to be. Because like I said, people in my screening got up and walked out. Opening weekend, got up and left. My cousins found the movie to be extremely boring. He passed out during it, snoring loudly during the movie, because he thought it was so boring. So this movie is having a negative impact on fans. And that is going to be played out later on when it comes to seeing what happens in the following weeks. But that being said, I'm curious to know your thoughts about this. Do you think that the score is accurately reflective of the film's response from people online, or is it a troll job? Or is the movie just good and those of us who don't like it, we just suck? These are things I want to know. Let me know in the comments. Also, thumbs up the video, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Check back often for more videos from me. And if you want to see more, you can do so right now.